Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Download. My name is Mike Dorezza. With me, as always, is my buddy Joel Lowe. Joel, say hello.
Hello to me.
Hello. Hello.
Hey,
So today, Joel, what are we going to talk about?
nightmares,
Nightmares
right?
Part 2.
Nightmares part two. Who would have
Part
thought that
2.
in this
Yeah.
job there could be more nightmares?
No,
Yo?
it's an endless amount of nightmares. We haven't even
Right.
scratched everything. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about how, those tech nightmares that everybody deals with, they're actually universal. Like
Right.
they're some of these things that we're going to talk about, you're going to experience at home, heaven
Hmm.
forbid at some point.
Right.
But hopefully you're prepared. You listen to these shows, you have a good friend at IT, and you reach out to them and say, "Hey man, how do I fix this?" So,
Right.
um let's start with data loss. This is something you're dealing with.
I am. I am. So my thing is, you have to back your stuff up, and I think we talked about this
Yeah.
a couple of webinars or episodes ago, right? About backing up your data, right? And periodically, just plugging your stuff up and making sure that you back it up either to the cloud or to an external device, right?
Or
And the
both.
thing with the cloud is, yeah, or both. The thing with the cloud is eventually it's going to get full, right? And then they're going to charge you money, right?
Right.
And if you're cool with paying like 99 cents a day, right, for cloud access, which is $365 a year,
Right.
then fine, right? But me, I'm going to do it external, right, which you just showed. And that external I have with me, I can plug in real quick, I can wipe stuff off. So you don't need, and they're fairly cheap, right, at this point. Like I remember when they first came out, they were super expensive. $200, $300. And you weren't even getting a terabyte at that point, right? It was several gigs, right? And now you can get a couple terabytes for 40, $50,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
So my thing is like truly understanding that data loss, people want their pictures, people want their information. And if the system fails, right, for whatever reason, it's hard to get that off. Not to say impossible, but you're going to end up spending some money. So you either pay me now, pay me later, right? You'll
Right.
hear us say that periodically throughout this whole talk, right? Pay me
Yeah.
now,
Pay me
you
now,
pay me
pay
later,
me later. Right. Right.
right?
And you're going to pay me more later than you will if you pay me now. So,
But
yeah,
the moral of the story is you're gonna pay,
you're
right?
going to
So
pay. Yeah.
you're gonna
This
pay.
is the world we live in. Recycle your old technology, right? Like make
Mhm.
sure, and if you can sell it back, that's even better, right? If
Right, right.
Apple will take back some of their tech as long as it's not too old. You can run it on eBay as long as you wipe off
Mhm.
all your, pull the hard drive out of your laptop or computer before you sell it, but you can put
Right,
it on eBay, or wipe the hard drive if you know how to do that.
right.
But yeah, just you're gonna pay me now, pay me later. So yeah, data loss is a big one. That's one that always keeps me up at night because I'm always worried about did I back that up? Hmm.
Right. Hmm.
Um,
Or like I just came off vacation, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm gonna put my phone up today, right?
right.
And all the data and pictures that came from that vacation were now go there, and I can
Yep.
get rid of them. So my other thing is too, like one of the questions comes up, and I just had this with my mother-in-law, was like, how long do I keep a computer, right?
Right.
So her computer is like laptop is like 7 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's having, believe it or not, she's having issues with it, right? And I'm like, well, when's the last time it's been backed up?
Right.
7 years, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I never do that, and I'm just like, no, or
Yeah.
update it. So you don't back up.
Ooh.
And when's the last time you updated the operating system and whatnot? And she was like, no, I always just say ignore, and it's running slow, and you're having issues. Hmm. Go figure.
Right.
Go,
Right.
go, go figure. Hey, those two go together, right? If you don't
Yeah.
patch, you're gonna have issues,
Right.
right?
And patching at work, we're used to doing that like consistently, right? Like
Right.
every 30 days, Microsoft comes forth out of their Ark of the Covenant and hands us the next level of patches.
The Ark
And
of the Covenant.
I don't know. I couldn't do the temple
No, no, no. I'm with you. I
Washington.
got the picture. Hey,
Um
the
yeah,
Holy
and
Grail.
they give us the patches.
Right.
But the difference is like at work, we test them, right? So like we go through a battery of tests and what we call UAT, user
Oh,
acceptance
we
testing.
should. You should test
Stop
them.
it.
You won't
Stop
get it
it. We absolutely test them.
right.
We absolutely no, but and we can't test everything. right?
Nope.
You can't. It would take way too long.
Nope.
And there are some things you might only do 4 or 5 times a year.
Right.
End of quarter, end of year, you just don't do them. So you're not going to be able to test them,
Right.
at least not as deeply, right?
Mhm.
As somebody should. But that takes 2 3 weeks. So we do all this at home. As long as you're backing up your data, every time a patch comes up, you should be installing it,
I
right?
agree.
Maybe
I
you
agree.
give it 2 days, 2 3 days, but you should install regularly, right? And
Right.
that's and to your point, Joel, it takes like if you don't do it and they start backing up. Now, granted, sometimes they have cumulative patches where they have all of the stuff
Right.
that was in the previous one and all in the new one, but if you don't keep up with it, it can take a really long time. Um, the new iOS is coming out, right, for your phones and your iPad.
Mhm.
The new operating system is coming out probably in October, September timeframe. You want to make sure that you get space on your hard drive, right? So things that you're not using, get rid of, right? But patch, get that patch
Right.
in. Well, Mike, I don't have the hard drive space. Put stuff temporarily on a hard drive,
Right.
do the update, move it back, right? And as you're moving it back, do I really need to move this? Do I really
Well,
need to
well,
keep
you
this?
you had brought up a point about even when it comes to like updating your tech, right? About getting compatible tech, right? So speak
Right.
more on that about how sometimes you get the cheaper, right, and it doesn't fit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how old I am. Buddy and I used to go to computer shows a lot in the 90s, and we'd go and we'd buy stuff right off the table. Now, I didn't know any better. I wouldn't know if it worked or not. I just know I had a finite budget and I needed to buy a video card. I'd buy a video
Right.
card, bring it home. Turns out it doesn't work. Well, now I bought a video card that doesn't work with my computer, and it actually functions. It just won't work with my technology.
Right.
But to your point, it investing in different kinds of technology, it changes from person to person, right? So people that do a lot of with video graphics and manipulation of data, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, you're going to need significant hardware. You're going to need a video card. You're going to need RAM, which is super important because those
Right.
programs just use a lot of RAM. So if you've ever seen the letters RAM and 16 gigabytes, 8 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes, that's where you want to place your investment. The processor is important, but not crazy important anymore.
Right.
It usually is the RAM and the graphics card that drive a lot of this stuff now.
Hmm.
Not to say that processor is not important. Please don't buy a
Right.
4 or 5 year old processor, but don't sink the majority of your money into that, right? You
Right.
want to make investment, and RAM is not cheap, especially on a laptop where my Mac, the MacBook Pros, you can't update the RAM in. So
Right.
what you buy is what you're
It's what
going
you
to
got.
get. So and it
I found
costs.
that out. I found that
Yeah.
out the hard way.
Well, and it's for the newer ones. The older ones you could put in, you could say, I'm going to buy the 4 gigs of RAM and then update it to
Right.
16. You can't do that. It's soldered into the board. Now,
Yeah.
there legend tells of people who are smart enough than better than I and soldering in
And
things
I.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
But who
make
wants to take
smart
that time?
investment. Who
Time
wants
and
to
money.
take that? Yeah, not me.
Yeah.
So
You know what
invest
else?
it.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Investing. I was gonna say one of the other things that comes up too is about your home, about versus like a Wi-Fi versus like a mesh, right?
Right.
So I get that question a lot as well, and I know people may be wondering, what we think about that or what's the difference, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
you have your router, right? So you plug your router into um, internet modem, right? Depending on how it's set up, and then it sends out a signal, and the signal propagates throughout your house. And depending on how strong that signal is, the closer you are to it, the better your speed is, right? Because it's
Right.
running over air. A mesh is more of you put access points throughout your house, right? And it creates this barrier, right? That's supposed to make the signal be stronger throughout your house. You also seen repeaters, and I've used those too, where you can plug those into an outlet and it picks up the signal and repeats it, right, to make it
Yeah.
faster. And all of it just depends on how your house is built, how big your house is, and how it's set up, right? How you set
Yeah.
those networks up, right? So
Yeah.
if you have your router in the middle of your home, right, then it equally propagates throughout the whole house. Then that may work for you. If you aren't able to do that and it's in one location further away, and you want to have it closer in another area, then you may need the mesh, right?
Right.
So it just depends. And then repeaters may work because you may only need it for one room in one section, and that repeater will pick it up, and you jump onto that signal.
And and I like the mesh network also has a few more tools and functions that you could do. You can create a guest network. You can
Yeah.
do, and some of the other larger, nicer routers can do the same thing where they're like you could split the network into appliances and
Mhm.
and then you firewall off, only allow certain traffic to get to your appliances or your Nest, your
Right.
thermostat.
Mhm.
And I like so I have a mesh network because I live in a rectangle box,
Okay.
much like you used to trawl when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of far apart from each other. So my wife, who sits in an office upstairs on the other side of the room because I'm loud, um, she has one in her office, one of those little mesh networks in hers, and I have one in my office, and then
Okay.
there's one in the middle of the house, and that way
Right.
no one loses signal strength or things like that, and
And
then
the
you
thing
can.
with the good routers, as you're talking about, is you can set certain things. So like the 2.5 hertz versus the 5, right? So
Right.
you need something to go faster, right? You put it on the 5, but then for the stuff in your house, right, you
Right.
may only want it on the 2.5, right?
Right.
So and with your guest network as well, right? You may want to give them the slower speed of what you have
Right.
when
You're
you're trying
already
to get the
feeding
first.
them. Yeah.
Right. Versus giving them the faster connection. So understanding that and setting that up will actually help you out. So if you have a
Yeah.
bunch of people on your network, right? You're feeding them to certain places where, okay, I can use the redundancy or it can go slower, but I can
Yeah.
stay on the faster network with my work computer or things of that nature. So again, just reading up and understanding how you configure things. That's another one, right?
Yeah.
Everything's about how you configure it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Every tool you buy, everything you do for your house,
Yeah.
everything is how you configure it. Your phone, it's how you configure it, right?
Yeah.
Create in a way to make it safe, make it optimally work. It should do what it needs to do. But again, if you don't know, you need to ask somebody or you need to look it up, right? Go to YouTube and say, hey, I just bought my iPhone, whatever, or my Samsung, whatever. How do I configure it? How do I make it
Right.
go faster? How do I secure it? What should I
Right.
do? I'm
Right.
pretty sure there's like 1,400 videos,
Oh
right? On
yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
who's like, I just got it. This is what you do. And they show you through with pictures, right? Hey, you
Yeah.
slide this over and this does this. And beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I found out that I could make it so that when I give my daughter my phone, I didn't want her going through all my other stuff. So I can click it after I did something, and it only will let her be on that one screen unless she puts in my password. I
Nice.
was like, that's nifty,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm. So all I want you to do is play this one game, right?
Right.
And now I can focus on other stuff, and I know that she's not in my phone like looking at my music, right, or listening
Right.
to my music or whatever. So again, that's things I did not know, but I looked it up and found out, right? So
No, that's pretty cool.
these things do so much, right? And,
Yeah.
and that's at home too, right? Your router probably does a lot more than you knew than just
Right.
send out a wireless signal, right?
Yeah.
So just figure that out. Make sure you have your security stuff in place.
Yeah. No, it's I mean those are good lessons, right? At the end of the day, it's there's a lot you can do with it. So going back, we started this conversation off with automatic patches and updates and things
Yeah.
like that. Um, Make sure you update your routers as
Hmm.
well. Like all of that networking stuff, make sure that that's getting its updates as well.
Right.
For years, I thought mine was auto updating, and turns out it just kept failing in the updates, and eventually it got slower and slower and slower, and I'm like,
Oh,
I wonder what's going on with this.
hmm.
And I looked and it was like version 1.0, and I was like, oh yeah,
Huh.
I've had this for a little while. This could be a little problematic. So
I
yeah,
have
I
to
had to.
check my router now. I don't know. It should be automatic, but I need to check it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
literally,
yeah.
I am ashamed, y'all. I apologize. I have no idea. Like I was gonna say with the automatic updates, just do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Set it up because again, if you're backing up your data, like Mike stated, it's a no brainer, right? Go ahead and update it. So everything else is on update, but I'm not sure about my
yeah,
router.
yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
So guess
So
what I've been
everybody,
doing?
everybody, hit pause.
Yes, hit
Go
pause.
check your router.
Go check
Come
your router.
back.
Hey, come back and give
We'll
us a
wait.
comment, and let us know. So
Let us know.
we're just
Yeah,
gonna,
there you
we're
go.
just gonna
There you
sit
go.
here and sing show tunes, right?
Right.
Until y'all
Right.
get back. Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for.
Hey.
You've been searching through the dark, sweat putting through the floor. I don't know. I don't know
Woo.
the words of that
We're
song.
here all
Um,
week for
all
you.
right. Welcome back. So
Welcome back.
automatic updates, we talked about that. So Joe, let's break it down to the people of takeaways.
Okay.
Pay me
So I
now or
said it
pay me
before.
later.
Pay me
Yeah.
now, pay me later, right? So you either take the time and do the investments of getting your external drive or making sure you have enough room in your cloud and picking a time, right? And it can be once a month if you need to. I would say that's the latest I would do
Yeah.
a week. I would at least go once a week, if not every other week, and just back your data up,
Yeah.
right? And make it part of a habit that you do
Yeah.
on your computer. Because once you have an issue, not if, when, when you have
Right.
an issue, right? You backing up your data makes it so that we can say, all right, we can just wipe and reload, right? Start you over, get rid of everything, and we'll reload that data in there. And it's so much simpler and easier for whoever's working on your computer, right? So
Yeah.
you may have your nephew or your son or your son-in-law, right, who is not a super duper tech person, but it's real simple to wipe a computer and reload it, right? It's not that hard at all.
Yeah.
Again, YouTube can show you in 5 minutes, right? But if they have to now go in and retrieve that data, that makes things a lot difficult, right?
Yeah.
That takes a level of skills that you really need to know what you're doing and have some kind of experience. So now you're going to a Geek Squad or somebody else and you're paying them money,
Yeah.
right? Good hard cash, right?
Yeah. A lot of
So
money.
you either pay
Forensics.
me now, right,
Yeah.
or you pay me later. Patch, set up automatic patching. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a
And
no brainer.
antivirus. And
And
antivirus
antivirus,
updates.
and
Yeah.
antivirus, yes, it's a no brainer, right? Go ahead and do it, and also refresh your stuff, right? After 3 4 years, it's time to
Yeah.
get a new laptop, right?
Yeah.
I know it's working well and you like it, but there's a reason why it's new tech, right? And
All
in
right.
corporate America, refresh is 3 to 4 years, right? In the government, it may go 5 years. Just
Right.
depends on our budget and what's doing. But 3 to 4 years, you should start looking for another
Yeah.
laptop and computer.
And that
Um,
includes and other things, right? Other technologies. It's not just
phone,
that's
right,
not just desktop, laptop, but it's also the routers that you were talking about,
right,
and think that stuff gets old.
yep,
New tech comes out, it's already patched to a certain level. You have features and functionalities you didn't have on the older model.
right,
Just like buying a car, right? Like
mhm,
hey, some things it's great to drive for forever until you drive it into the ground.
right,
Other things, you don't want to take your chances, right? If it's your
right.
only car and you've got kids, you want to make sure that car runs 100% every time you turn the key, or
And
as
the thing
best
about new
100% you
cars
can.
is once you get in, you realize something different. They're more fuel efficient because of new technology, right? It's
Yeah,
like new features. It drives better. It feels better.
right.
Not to say anything's wrong with that older car, but
Yeah,
as technology evolves, right? Like it blows my mind to think that my cell phone has more technology in it than the space shuttle had when they went to the moon.
yeah,
Like that's baffling to me that this little thing I walk around with
yeah.
it has that
Because
much
they
tech.
faked the moon landing. I'm kidding.
I
They did not fake the moon landing. Those people are heroes.
well, I've heard that. Is this the conspiracy one? Is this?
This
I
is
thought
good.
this was.
We
Are we
yeah,
doing the conspiracy
we
one now?
changed to the conspiracy one all of a sudden.
Hey,
So
we can't stay focused, people. We're on the conspiracy now. Let me tell you what I think. Right? Nah, but it's very interesting. Um, keep your stuff updated, right? Please do. And then talk to your family members, right? Your mothers, your aunts, and just tell them,
yeah,
like, hey, make sure you update your stuff, right?
right.
It makes it easier for you. It's not hard. Hey, give a gift of external drive. Not that expensive, but you
Yeah.
can go ahead and set it up for them and say, here it is. All you got to
Right.
do is push this button and slide this over.
That's a
Very simple.
terrible anniversary gift, but it's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
gift other days. Other days of
And
the year, it's a good gift.
external
Do not
drive and vacuum. Terrible gift.
vacuum. No.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't buy your
Terrible
wife a
gift.
vacuum, right? Not good,
Don't
right?
do that. Don't do that.
What? It's
All
state
right.
of the
Well,
art.
so Joel, any passing closing thoughts before we say goodbye?
Um, life's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Uh, good. The Lord Forrest Gump told me that.
Deep, deep.
Yes. And GI Joe, knowing it's after battle.
Yeah. Yeah, and to that point, like I this is one of those topics where I agree with knowing is half the battle. Like, you know where your files are,
Hmm.
back them up, right? Know that you have a backup in case something
Hmm.
bad happens. Um, Hard drives fail, right? Hard drives and computers and laptops fail, and sometimes they fail, and they may be covered under warranty, but they
Hmm.
still fail, and
Right.
they'll get a replacement hard drive if it's covered under warranty, but it won't have your files on it. And warranties don't cover that. So just make sure you back up your files. Make sure you update regularly. It's one of those things that's kind of a pain, but you start before you go to bed one night or on a Friday or Saturday night, and you
Hmm.
wake up Saturday or Sunday morning, you check on it and you shut it
Yeah.
down, or just keep up with it. Make sure you stay on top of it. And then, yeah, every once in a while, you just got to let go.
Yep.
Recycle your electronics if you can. It's
Yeah.
really important. There's a lot of stuff that we can reuse, materials like precious metals and things like that can get reused and everything else. So definitely recycle them, give them up. All right, well, hey everyone, thanks for joining us this week. If you liked it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We try to put out these. We took a hiatus for a little bit
Yeah.
for some travels, and then but we do try to do this once a week and give some tips and updates. We'll probably do another travel one before the end of the summer.
Yep.
Um, if you have any suggestions for topics, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. And thanks again.